This video features the best tips and tricks for the newest brawler, Kit. Everybody will be able to get Kit in Star Drops and on the Star Road on January 4th just before the new Star Toon season starts. So make sure you guys watch to the end of this video to learn everything you guys can about the new cartoony superstar, Kit. Alright, so first off, let's go ahead and talk about his main attack, Claws. Kit attacks with his quick short-range claw, hitting enemies in a 75-degree arc. The cooldown is extremely short and it takes 0.25 seconds to complete. Now, Kit's attack range is not long whatsoever, so it's very important that you guys are getting as close as you guys can to the enemies. You guys need to really be treating Kit like a tank. Like, granted, he doesn't have the HP like a tank, but the way his main attack works is very short. Now, something that's actually pretty cool about Kit is you can pierce through the enemies with your main attack. So if the enemies are grouped up together, really try to take advantage of that opportunity and try to hit multiple enemies. Now, another cool thing about Kit is he actually has the trait. Basically, he can just charge his super by just doing nothing, kind of like Darrow and Edgar, right? If Kit were to just stand there and do absolutely nothing for 20 seconds, he can just get his super for absolutely free. And of course, with Kit, that is the most important part about him, so having that trait to him makes him absolutely broken. Now, even though Kit doesn't do a whole ton of damage in his base form, the good thing about him is he has a pretty quick reload speed. When he's in his base form, his reload speed is actually less than a second. It's 0.8 seconds, which is really fast. However, in his other Yarn Balls form, it actually takes 2 whole seconds for him to get another bar of ammo. Okay, now that we talked about Kit's main attack, let's get into the juicy part now, his super. Now, with his super, it's kind of similar to Edgar. Like, Kit jumps into the air and over obstacles briefly before landing onto the area where the super was aimed. While in the air, Kit is completely immune to all damage besides status effects and damage applied over time. So when Kit uses his super onto the enemies, they're actually going to be stunned, not being able to move whatsoever, and he's going to deal 250 damage per second over the 2 seconds. Now, a common mistake I see when people are using Kit is they don't use their super to just get a confirmed kill. If you notice that the enemy is low, like they have maybe a few hundred HP or even less than 1,000 HP, just go ahead and use your super, jump onto them, and get that confirmed kill. It's just a great way for you to just go attack onto them with your super, instantly kill them, and you don't even have to use your main attack to get them down. Now, something that's very important to understand: when your teammate is playing Kit and they stun the enemy, you yourself and your teammate have to just go ahead and take advantage while the enemy is stunned. They're not going to be able to move for the 2 whole seconds, and that is when you can be using your main attacks to charge your next super or just to get them down. Now, when you are playing Kit and you go ahead and use your super, I recommend targeting the strongest person on the other team. Maybe it can be just a high HP brawler, or maybe a tank that you want to use your super on. Just somebody that's the biggest threat that you want to eliminate and stun for the next 2 seconds. Because when you stun them, like I said, you and your teammates can just take advantage, get them down, and get them out of the game. Now, you have to really watch out, because if you and your teammate can't get that enemy down while they're stunned, you're gonna dismount from that enemy, and then the enemies that could be standing around their teammate can possibly just burst you down right there. Because the Kit in his base form, like I said earlier, doesn't really do a whole ton of damage. Even though his reload speed is very good, most of the time he's not gonna really be able to burst him down. Now, remember guys, the whole point of you using your super is not to deal that 250 damage over the 2 seconds while they're stunned. The whole point of you using your super onto the enemy is to stun them, and then you can go ahead and have your teammates get them down. Because let's be realistic here, that 500 damage that you're gonna do over the 2 seconds is gonna be absolutely nothing. It's not gonna do anything to the enemy team. Now, there's actually a second part to his super, Carry Me, because you can use it onto your teammates as well. When Kit lands on an ally brawler, he's attached to them for 10 seconds, healing them 600 HP a second over time in the process. In addition, he is immune to all damage, and his super recharges instantly. After the 10 seconds, if the ally brawler is defeated or Kit uses his super in the alternate form, he jumps off, transforming back into his normal form. Now, when you guys use this kind of super onto your teammates, I'd recommend latching onto your teammate that has the most amount of HP. This way, the more HP they have, the higher chance of you actually surviving while you're latched onto them. You don't want to latch onto somebody like a Piper or like a Tick that has like no HP, because once they go down, which they probably will pretty quickly, you're just gonna be screwed, and you're just gonna realize that you latched onto the wrong person. Now, I'll just give you guys some good examples of brawlers that you guys should be latching onto, like Chuck, for example, when he uses his super throughout the map, or even like another brawler like Janet, for example. You can latch onto her while she's flying in the air. You can drop yarn balls from the sky, or even using it onto Leon when he uses his super. You can latch onto him, go invisible with Leon. I mean, it's just, there's so much amazing ways to use Kit's super. But another reason why Kit is gonna be such a good support brawler in this game is because he can heal his teammates, right? Like I stated earlier, you can stay latched to your teammate for the 10 seconds, and you can actually heal them for 600 HP every second. So if you realize that you have your super and you want to use it to heal up your teammate, that's just going to be a great way for you to be a good teammate. Like, you don't have to always use it in a super fancy way, like on a Chuck super or a Janet super. If your teammate's low, just go ahead and heal them up. Be a good teammate. Now, what's actually really broken and fun about Kit is when you latch onto your teammate, you're going to have a totally unique new attack. When Kit is attached to his teammate, Kit throws a ball of yarn over obstacles that bounces upon hitting the ground and blows up after 2 seconds. Each yarn ball will deal 4,000 damage to any enemies caught in its 1.3 3v3 tile blast radius. However, Kit has a slower reload speed and a slower attack cooldown in this form. It's important that you guys are being very efficient with every attack. You need to really think of yourself as a thrower, like you're gonna be lashed onto your teammate, basically throwing bombs, yarn balls technically. So you want to be aiming forward where the enemies are gonna be running to, not where they currently are standing at. I mean, it's just disgusting the amount of damage that he can do. He does way more damage in his yarn balls form compared to his base form, for example. So when you guys are playing Kit, it's important you guys are trying to lash onto your teammates more than onto the enemies, because you want to be getting yourself in this yarn balls form. Now, another time I can really see the yarn balls form of Kit coming in handy is if you are completely outranged by the other team. If you notice that the enemies are going to be completely outranging you, you're not going to be able to get within range of them with your main attack. Just lash onto your teammate and just throw your yarn balls at them. This is what makes Kit such a versatile brawler as well. Like, he has his close range main attacks to deal with like the close range brawlers, but he'll also have his yarn balls form to go in and deal with the long range brawlers or even deal with other throwers. Alright, so we talked about his main attack, we talked about his super. Let's go and talk about his gadgets now. The first gadget we're going to be talking about is going to be Cheeseburger. Upon activation, when Kit is attached to an ally brawler, they heal for 40% of their maximum health. Now, the only time I really recommend going this gadget is inside a duo showdown, because say your teammate is low, you can just go ahead and latch onto them, activate your gadget, and you can heal them up for all of that missing health. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be completely useless in 3v3s, but when you're playing duo showdown, it's just going to be you and your teammate, right? So it just makes more sense to use this gadget when it's just going to be the two of you guys, because you can just latch onto them, have them carry you, and you can heal them up. Now, just keep in mind, when you guys try to use this gadget in your base form and you're not latched onto your teammate, nothing's going to be able to happen. You have to be latched onto your teammate in order for this gadget to work. Now, yes, Cheeseburger is going to be the better gadget to use in duo showdown, but everywhere else, you got to be using cardboard box. When activated, Kit hides in a cardboard box, turning himself invisible for 5 seconds, allowing him to either retreat or ambush an enemy. Similar to Leon's super, if Kit takes damage during this gadget activation, he will momentarily be visible. In addition, if Kit stands still, the effectiveness of his super charge rate from his trait is doubled. Now, I really recommend using this gadget when the enemies completely don't expect it whatsoever. You can go ahead and activate it when you're inside of a bush, and you can use it to maneuver your way around the map, sneak upon the enemies, and get a free kill. Now, even what I stated earlier, you can also use this gadget when you need to retreat when you're low, or maybe you have the gems and gem grab, for example. You can just activate your gadget, the enemies are not going to know where the hell you are, and it's just going to be a free escape for yourself. Or probably one of my more favorite underrated ways to use this gadget is if you are no longer attached to your teammate. If you are playing that kind of play style where you want to be attached to your teammate and using your yarn balls attack, if you are no longer attached to your teammate and you want to get attached to them by using your super, you can just stand still with the cardboard box gadget and double your super charge rate. This is just a great way for you to just continue the pressure, latch onto your teammate, get your yarn balls form, and just deal a lot of damage to the enemies. So just an overview of his gadgets. Cheeseburger is going to be better for like dual showdown, for example, but everywhere else you gotta be going cardboard box. Alright, so we talked about his gadgets. Now I want to talk about his star powers, but the first one we're going to be talking about is going to be power hungry. This star power doubles the damage and health buffs from every power cube collected. Now, as you can imagine, this is going to be the perfect star power to cater to his Cheeseburger gadget. Whether you guys are playing solo showdown or dual showdown, power hungry is going to be the star power you guys gotta be running with him. I mean, come on now, being able to double the amount of damage that you can do, and of course the health buff as well, that's going to be doubled as well. It's just completely disgusting inside a solo showdown. But this will also make you guys very powerful in dual showdown. It's going to make you and your team a lot more menacing, because you're just going to be getting a lot of power cubes for your teammate, right? But you're going to be doubling all of your stats for yourself. So all of you showdown mains licking your chops right now because of this disgusting combination. Yeah, you gotta be going Cheeseburger and power hungry with Kit. I mean, it's a no-brainer in showdown. Now, yes, we got the perfect build for showdown, but everywhere else you gotta be going with the overly attached star power. With this star power equipped, Kit's alternate form lasts 5 seconds longer, increasing its duration from 10 to 15 seconds. Now, you may think, you know what, Brent, this gadget's kind of underwhelming, but if you can attach yourself to your teammate for another 5 additional seconds, that's just more healing you're gonna be able to help out your teammate with. Now, just remember, this star power only works when you use your super onto an ally. The star power is not going to increase your super duration when you use it onto an enemy. So kind of like what I was just talking about earlier, right, with this yarn balls attack, if you really want to play with that play style and latch yourself onto a teammate and just constantly use your yarn balls, going with overly attached will keep you guys latched onto your teammate for that 5 additional seconds, meaning you can use your yarn balls form for another 5 seconds, which will make it a lot more devastating for the enemies to deal with. Now, for Kit's gears, I gotta recommend going damage gear for the first one. Since Kit doesn't do a whole ton of damage like in his base form, like I stated earlier, if you guys drop below that 50% HP, the extra 15% damage that you're gonna get from the gear is gonna help you guys just deal that much more damage, and it can really change a lot of engagements. This will also work if you guys latch onto a teammate, like your Yarn Ball's damage is gonna go up even more, which makes him even more broken. Now the other gear I recommend going with Kit is gonna be the gadget charge gear. Whether you guys are using Cheeseburger in Duel Showdown or you guys are using his cardboard box in 3v3, having another gadget to use with Kit whatsoever is gonna make him even stronger. Especially inside of 3v3, like having another cardboard box gadget to go aggressive or to just retreat is gonna come in very clutch in a lot of different situations. Well, there you guys go, a complete guide on how to play Kit. There's a lot of different ways to play him, so really just experiment with him and have fun with him. Well, anyway guys, if you guys enjoyed that brawler guide, I highly recommend you just go check out this brawler guide right here.